Welcome to UND Insider Weekly alongside Brad Schlossman and Tom Miller from the Grand Forks Herald and Paul Ralston from UND Athletics. I'm Tim Hennessy. What a weekend, gentlemen. It was jam-packed with action all over the town and out of town. I guess we'd have to start with football at the Alaris Center, the Hall of Fame game. First, Paul, I want your thoughts on the Hall of Fame banquet and Roger Thomas in particular on that, because we talked a little bit about it last week on the show. How'd that go? Fantastic.
It was absolutely marvelous to start the day that way. You know, you saw Rob Bollinger, saw Roger and his entire family back. To be perfectly honest with you, I think probably the most entertaining speech went to our two wrestling coaches being honored for the Tom Clifford Award from Bismarck High in, I think, Jeb Nolan and Joe Schumacher. Fantastic. They were fantastic, just wildly entertaining. So if you can catch any clips on that, I encourage you to do so. But a great way to set up the game.
He's nothing but honest, folks. So then, of course, the football game, and wow, I don't know where you start on that one. Certainly a great opportunity for UND. It looked like they were going to win that football game against Montana. Had the chance, but the field goal in the last minute or so, only to lose it on a field goal in the waning seconds.
You know, I'm sure it hurt to lose that one the way they did. And then on the other side of things, you got to feel a little good about yourself, taking a number 7 team in the country like Montana down to the wire. You know, I know publicly, you know, coaches and players won't ever, you know, kind of grab the moral victories, as people like to put it. But that was a heck of a defensive performance UND had against Montana.
You know, I think, at least from my perspective, I'm not sure how everyone else had viewed this, but usually when you bring in a new coaching staff and a new head coach, you kind of ready yourself as a fan or as a person who covers a team that it's going to take time to rebuild. And I think that it has taken some time to rebuild in certain areas, but I think what's so shocking is that we've seen such a substantial turnaround on the defensive side of the ball that has really given North Dakota issues in recent years, that it's like, wow, really, we're that close to competing on the upper echelon of the league right now. Literally a couple of things go a couple different ways in the previous 2 games at Montana State, and of course here on Saturday against Montana. We're maybe looking at a whole different outlook basically for just this season immediately, when you were basically telling yourself, well, it's going to take a little time.
And these are the same players, essentially. I mean, it's not like they brought in,
no.
You know, I mean, that's what's shocking to me. I mean, this defense was really bad last year with some of these guys, and all of a sudden, it had the feel of the early 2000s there, where I think the fans couldn't wait for the D to get back on the field, because, you know, you almost sensed that they were going to score at some point or make a big play, and they sure enough at the end of the game they did.
Yeah, when Chris Brown intercepted that pass, returned it for a touchdown, that's probably the most excitement we felt in the Alaris Center for quite a while. You know, I think Brad's right there. It's kind of interesting that this defense is one returning starter from a year ago, and it's not a ton of JUCO transfers. It's a lot of kids who were backups last year who were kind of getting their chance. And you know, Brian Labatt, one of those guys who had 4.5 tackles for losses, he was everywhere.
Well, they have more tackles for losses right now than they had all the last year, right?
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
not amazing.
They had 14 against Montana. That's an incredible number.
They had
You know,
16 in the last home game before
Coach
that.
Schweiger told me on Monday morning that who would ever thought we'd be talking about this, about maybe a little frustration setting in that you play so well and you don't get a win.
Right.
I didn't think we'd be talking about that, but they definitely, Paul, you were amongst them after the game down in the locker room. They fully expected to win that game, and were really disappointed they didn't. And I guess you lose the game, but I guess that's nice to see.
Well, and you hear Coach Schweigert and his staff constantly talk about, if you ask them a question, that it's up to us, the coaches, the staff, to constantly, you know, tell our players that we expect to win. You know, we can't allow them to start hanging their heads, but it's up to us as coaches. So, you know, they're preaching what they need to preach, and the players are believing what they're having to believe, and it's been quite a turnaround.
Well, it's not a moral victory, like you said, but in a sense, last year you got the feeling that after those really bad losses, they were going into the next game thinking, oh boy, how long till this thing gets in the hand? And I think this week, the rest of the season, they go into games with confidence that things are going to happen, and that's a huge difference.
Got a little hockey going over the weekend as well. Sunday, the men's hockey team got underway against Manitoba in an exhibition game, and I don't know what you took out of that, Brad, but I took out of it that that defensive core, as we've talked about, as a 6-some or an 8-some as they were on Sunday night, are extremely good, and I just hope fans appreciate the way this team plays the game. Because you won't see everybody playing that way, attacking with 5 guys coming up the ice. It's entertaining, and they look like they'd played 4 or 5 games already at least.
They have the personnel to do that with the D-core. A lot of those guys are very offensive guys, and I think we're going to see that a lot this year. We've kind of questioned, scoring up front. They don't have a guy up front who is going to be a Hobey Baker finalist. They don't have a Fratton or anything like that. But what they do is when their D start pinching in, and the 5-man cycle, as Coach Haxtell likes to call it, it's really difficult to defend.
Yeah, they put a lot of pressure.
They do.
And my only question to you two guys is that we're going to have some sort of Jets versus Sharks type of battle to see who gets to play with Nick Schmaltz, because if I'm a player, I want to be on his line with some of the passes that he was distributing out there, huh?
Well, I think it's pretty evident. Just from the one time seeing Nick play, I like him playing with Drake Kajula. Kajula's a guy who's got to have the puck, and Nick is a guy who likes to distribute the puck. Because I think people might forget that his forte is distributing the puck.
Absolutely, I think they'll learn pretty quick.
With his brother.
Yeah, for sure. A great pass there. The goal that Wade Murphy set up. Knowing that he's a playmaker, there were a few times he had the puck and he was coming in the zone, and I'm like, he's not going to shoot, so I'm looking around who he's going to pass to, and I kind of think I know, and all of a sudden he sees something that I don't even see, and I think that's really difficult for opponents to defend, and I do think there's going to be a lot of guys who want to play on the line with Nick Schmaltz this season.
Well, way early on, but that's one of those passes that I remember watching with Jonathan Toews, with Zach Parise. There's those guys that some players don't even see that play.
Yep.
Other players see it but can't make that pass. He not only sees it but makes the pass, and you go, wow, that's one game in. We'll see how it works out as the regular season starts. The women, they took RPI down heavy 7-1 on Friday night, and then came back and dropped one to Vermont. That's a costly loss, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. The women's hockey doesn't have a lot of crossover between East and West, so in the pairwise, those games are huge, and they're going to end up with a 0 winning percentage against Hockey East. So if they get close with the Hockey East team trying to battle for NCAA tournament position, that's not going to be good for them. So we'll see where they go from here. Scoring was the question mark coming into the year. It was no problem on Friday night, and then it crept up a little bit on Saturday. So we'll see what happens next week in Mankato.
Is UND upset a little bit about how that came about, being that Vermont was supposed to come off a game?
Yeah,
and they didn't play on Friday night in Vermont?
I didn't even ask them that, but I think so. I think they would have much rather got them a second game of 2-game series and instead of the first game, but
just win, baby.
That's absolutely the key.
For those who don't know, Vermont had trouble traveling.
Their sticks didn't come.
In Chicago, their sticks didn't come, and they didn't get there. So that just didn't happen, I guess. Coming up, we'll preview all the sports happening at home. That's next.
I got my first hunting dog when I was 17. My passion for pheasant hunting has taken off ever since. One thing I really enjoy about pheasant hunting is it's an active sport. If you're serious about pheasant hunting, you're going to be out there working for the birds. The gear that's available today is going to make your hunt just that much more enjoyable. Watching my own dog work, being out there with my friends, congratulating a buddy on a good shot, those are all things that I really like about upland hunting. I'm Judd Geese, and I'm an upland hunting expert at Shields.
Cities Area Transit. We go where you go.
Did you know that riding the city bus is free for UND and Northland students?
I ride the bus so I don't have to find a parking spot, and then I'm always within an easy walking distance to all of my classes.
I'm going green, so I ride my bike everywhere. But when the weather turns bad, I take the bus. And why not? It's free.
Cities Area Transit. Enjoy the ride.
They took him out. And ended up losing. He's ahead 1-0. He watched the guy. I just had to listen to it. If this game's going to get blown, I'm blowing it.
Yeah.
It's homecoming week in Grand Forks as North Dakota takes on Portland State Saturday, October 11th at 1:30 in the Alaris Center. Get your tickets today at the Alaris Center box office or UNDsports.com.
Attention kids 8th grade and younger. You can now register to be a North Dakota Junior Champion for free. That's right, get a free membership to the official kids club of UND Athletics just by registering in person at any U.S. Bank location in North Dakota or the Red River Valley. Membership includes a Junior Champions t-shirt, free admission to over 60 UND home games, exclusive Junior Champions events, and more. Sign up today for free at any U.S. Bank location in North Dakota or the Red River Valley and be a North Dakota Junior Champion.
We play to win, but it's bigger than winning. It's about authenticity, being true to yourself, genuine dreams and a country big enough to fit them, values and hard work, giving your best and giving back, working together, building a tradition bigger than any one of us, and showing the world every day who we are and how we play. We're Big Sky. We are the heart of the American West.
UND Insider Weekly is sponsored by Shields and Grand Forks Cities Area Transit.
Through These Doors returns with its 4th season this Thursday as players get ready to start the regular season. Season premieres Thursday at 9 p.m. on UND Insider and Friday at 5:30 on Midco Sports Network. Well, it's homecoming, always a fun week of events, and I know it's tough for those football players to get ready for that homecoming game when they're thinking about the dance. We've heard coaches through the years talking, not the dance necessarily, but the festivities surrounding it. It has nothing to do with anything, does it?
I didn't even know there was a dance.
I don't know if there is.
Number one, I've never been invited. Maybe I should be talking to somebody else here about why I'm not getting invited to this dance.
But all, all the hoopla, the guys coming back. Players could care less, could they?
It's the same thing as Potato Bowl.
Actually, I think there's less than Potato Bowl, to be perfectly honest with you.
French fry feed.
Yeah, because
distraction.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's
a lot of grease.
I think there's less distractions, only from except for maybe, I think it depends on how they do this when former players return and how much access they're given. But by and large, I think this week is pretty much the status quo.
Yeah, I would think so. But Portland State in and 2-0 in the Big Sky, come up a win over Cal Poly. Only 2 games they've lost all year. Washington State, Oregon State, 2 FCS teams. And
BS.
FBS teams, is that what it is? Yeah,
just go 1A, 1AA. Come on.
2 of the level above guys, whatever. But maybe after the Montana State game, you might have went, what, we might pencil a W on that one. Maybe it's not going to be as, not that it was ever going to be easy, but.
Well, I think, UND's defense has been able to make Montana State and Montana very frustrated, especially Montana. And I think you look at 2 teams that don't often get frustrated like that. And then you go into a game against Portland State where, does this defense does it cause even more havoc against a team like Portland State that maybe in the past hasn't been able to handle some of those things? I think UND's got a great chance to pick up a win. The offense is still struggling, but if they're able to string some things together, avoid some of the costly mistakes that hurt them against Montana, they could piece together a full game and beat Portland State.
I'll be interested to see, but I have a feeling that Coach Schweigert and his staff will say, they may be able to run the ball, but that's exactly what we have to take away. We have to limit their running. They're a successful running team led by their quarterback, who's also a very capable runner. We have to take that away, and we have to force them into doing things that they're not necessarily comfortable doing, as passing.
Well, and isn't that what UND's been so good at?
Yeah.
Right. So they just have to kind of stay to the tried and true, basically, and hopefully that defense will come in with a little chip, maybe thinking, hey, we have to make a few more plays even yet to get us over the hump, and that's what it's going to take, because hopefully you just don't see them hanging their head or worrying too much about, dropping a tough game at home the week before.
And not having 9 penalties would help.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the problem.
The women's hockey team travels to Mankato, open up the WCHA season. Those games are always a struggle, but UND always seems to come out on top in those, Brad.
Yeah, it's going to be key games for them to get back and try to bounce back from the Vermont game. Mankato lost a lot of players from last year's team. They have one really dynamic player up front, but this is where UND needs to try to exert their will on a team like this and get a couple of wins, because they'll be big come later in the season.
I haven't talked a lot of volleyball, but the volleyball team was on the road at the Montanas and won both of those matches, and now they get to go on the road again. Weber State and Idaho State tied with UND going in anyway for the top spot, and it looks like Coach Pryor's got them rolling pretty good, huh?
You know, I look at what they did in Montana. You know, it was kind of funny. They dropped their first set of that road trip against Montana for the third straight conference match in a row. They dropped their first set, but then they were 3-0 because they ended up winning the match. Then they went to Montana State and I think really dominated. You know, hopefully they just keep it going. Weber State's an interesting program. They play a different style of game typically from what I've seen in years past. Maybe it's changed now, but they're coaching an association with the men's Olympic program, so they play kind of a game that's really kind of a power game, and so that should be a very interesting matchup. So Weber State should be an interesting matchup, and Idaho State, obviously a first place battle, very top program in the, you know, that went to the NCAA's a year ago, got hot in the conference. So that's a huge matchup for North Dakota.
And hockey matches up with Bemidji State, home and away, home first, then in Bemidji, and talk about it till you blue in the face about non-conference victories, and I mean, these are just games you have to have.
Yeah, for sure. This is the start of the non-conference schedule. They have a lot of games on there against teams that, you know, they're going to want to beat. You know, some teams that aren't going to finish real high in their standings. I don't know where Bemidji State's going to finish. They have a pretty good freshman class, but these will be their first games. They did not play an exhibition game, so UND will want to jump out to a quick start. Maybe they'll be a little sluggish in the first, like UND was Sunday night.
That's Friday at the Ralph, and then Saturday at the Sanford Center in Bemidji. After the break, head soccer coach Matt Kellogg is in the Coach's Corner. That's next on UND Insider Weekly.
Attention kids 8th grade and younger. You can now register to be a North Dakota Junior Champion for free. That's right, get a free membership to the official kids club of UND Athletics just by registering in person at any U.S. Bank location in North Dakota or the Red River Valley. Membership includes a Junior Champions t-shirt, free admission to over 60 UND home games, exclusive Junior Champions events, and more. Sign up today for free at any U.S. Bank location in North Dakota or the Red River Valley and be a North Dakota Junior Champion.
We play to win, but it's bigger than winning. It's about authenticity, being true to yourself, genuine dreams and a country big enough to fit them, values and hard work, giving your best and giving back, working together, building a tradition bigger than any one of us, and showing the world every day who we are and how we play. We are Big Sky. We are the heart of the American West.
K-E-L-L-O-G-G.
Cities Area Transit. We go where you go.
Did you know that riding the city bus is free for UND and Northland students?
I ride the bus so I don't have to find a parking spot, and then I'm always within an easy walking distance to all of my classes.
I'm going green, so I ride my bike everywhere. But when the weather turns bad, I take the bus. And why not? It's free.
Cities Area Transit. Enjoy the ride.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
UND soccer team returns home for a 4-game homestand starting this weekend with Northern Arizona and Southern Utah this Friday at 4, Sunday at noon, and you can watch both games on UND Insider. Broadcasts are subject to change due to weather. Make sure to follow UND Insider on Twitter to keep up with any changes. Matt Kellogg is the soccer coach at UND. He'll be there, I would guess, for that 4-game homestand, at least.
I'll see if I can work it into my schedule.
Work that into your tough schedule then.
Yeah.
Matt, how you doing? Been
doing
a long
well.
time.
Yeah, I forgot what the city looks like, you know? I don't know, did you notice we got a new high-performance indoor center coming up? When I left, it wasn't there.
It wasn't there,
No.
Huh? Got a long and tough road trip for you, huh?
Yeah, you know, that's one of the things that they don't teach you when you get into coaching is the road trips. You know, how to deal with that, you know, and we're not flying charter or, you know, private planes, we're commercial, so we're leaving at Fargo at 6 in the morning and returning at, you know, midnight after a delay in Denver, so it makes for interesting travel.
Well, you get to know the kids that way.
Yes,
Much
you do.
Better.
Yes,
Maybe
you
one
do.
side of them that you don't want to know.
You get to see them at their best and at their worst.
You guys haven't been able to score any goals. What's going on offensively?
You know, that's something we're asking ourselves every day in training. We're very young up top. That's one of the things. You know, with our system, we're sitting in a little bit more to be more defensive minded, just because we are inexperienced. You know, in the back, we're starting 2 center backs that are true freshmen, and that's a tall order. That's basically starting a true freshman at quarterback. They're the one that runs the field for you. So there's a lot of responsibility on them, and as a result, you know, we're not able to find our front runners as much as we'd like to in the positions that we need to.
You've been on the wrong side of a couple of 1-0 games in there during your road trip. The one against Weber, they scored a couple more than that. But in those 1-0 games, is it really that they just you had some chances and they had some chances and they had just one sneak in, or was it tilted and they had a lot of possession of the ball and you know, they had a bunch of shots? Tell us kind of how those played out, basically.
Yeah, you know, Paul, against Idaho to open up this Big Sky Conference run, you know, it was 1-0. The first half, I think they had the better part of the play, and they took advantage of that. There was, you know, they were going with the wind. Their field's a little downhill, so we were running uphill and into the wind, you know, the whole time it felt like. But it really is a case of the tale of two halves. You know, they have the first half, we have the second half. Their girl, I mean, if you look at the replay, and we have several times, the girl just sticks a foot on the ball and it just loops right over Christy's head and falls in. You know, that's one of those where the ball bounced their way and not our way. Same thing against Idaho State. You know, we're 0-0. They control the better part of the first half. We control the better part of the second half. They have a girl, the leading goal scorer in the conference. You know, it's tough to keep her quiet for 90 minutes, and she stung us with about 4 minutes left. And I think because we were so close to getting a result on Friday, that I think with a young group like we have, I think it was tough for us to get back up for that game on Sunday against Weber, who's always a great opponent, despite what their record shows. They're a strong team, and I think that's what happened to us, is we put so much effort and emotionally invested ourselves so much on Friday that it was tough for us to get back up on Sunday.
Back at home this weekend, Northern Arizona, Southern Utah, correct?
Yep.
Friday and Sunday. What are you expecting out of those games?
You know, NAU, they're a strong team, but they've had their challenges this year. Some of the results haven't gone their way. So again, we were on the wrong end of the travel the last 2 weekends, so we're hoping that we're on the right end of it this weekend. You know, with coming from Flagstaff, short week for them preparation-wise. They were on the road with a split weekend with Idaho. So it's going to be tough for them to get up for us, and we're thinking that we can take advantage of that homestand.
Good luck in this weekend.
Thank you much.
Thanks, Matt. Matt Kellogg joining us in the Coach's Corner. And coming up, a lot of sports underway, and plenty of them are in action this weekend. Tom will let us know what they're looking at, looking forward to. That's coming up next.
UND Insider Weekly is sponsored by Shields and Grand Forks Cities Area Transit.
It's homecoming week in Grand Forks as North Dakota takes on Portland State Saturday, October 11th at 1:30 in the Alerus Center. Get your tickets today at the Alerus Center box office or UNDsports.com.
Attention kids 8th grade and younger. You can now register to be a North Dakota Junior Champion for free. That's right, get a free membership to the official kids club of UND Athletics just by registering in person at any U.S. Bank location in North Dakota or the Red River Valley. Membership includes a Junior Champions t-shirt, free admission to over 60 UND home games, exclusive Junior Champions events, and more. Sign up today for free at any U.S. Bank location in North Dakota or the Red River Valley and be a North Dakota Junior Champion.
Welcome back to Insider Weekly. So, guys, what are we looking forward to this week?
I'll say.
Tom, you go first.
I'll say UND football against Portland State. I think it's kind of a season-turning potential time where the schedule eases a bit. UND's at 2-4. If they can win this Portland State game, things could get interesting this year.
Exhibition season's over. It's time for the real thing on Friday, Bemidji State. I'm really curious to see Bemidji State in that freshman class they're so excited about, and see how they stack up in their first college game. And I'm also very curious to see who will be in the lineup on Friday, because the coaching staff has a lot of difficult decisions.
I'm gonna, agree with everything that was just said. Obviously, I'll be following women's hockey. To see how they do in that road series after a tough non-conference loss here at home. But more importantly, we had Coach Kellogg on, and I'm really excited to see his team at home. I'm actually going to be out there for a couple of days, getting to see them at home this weekend. You got a young team that's trying to develop, and we'll see how they can do in front of the home fans at Bronson Field.
See if you can get them a goal or two.
Absolutely.
I hope so. I'm looking forward to the weekend of hockey just to see how Bemidji State tries to defend North Dakota, and whether they'll try to play with them. I don't think there's very few teams that are going to try to play with North Dakota in their style of play, but it'll be interesting to see how they do. And you're right, Brad, on the lineup thing. I don't want to make out that lineup. I wouldn't want to make out that lineup. And of course, everybody's hoping that the UND defense can play the way they did the last couple of weeks, and certainly the offense get enough points to beat Portland State. So it's all good, and we're all looking forward to that. So thank you for your views, gentlemen. Appreciate it. And you can catch a new episode of UND Insider Weekly next Wednesday at 8 p.m. on UNDsports.com and Friday at 5 on Midco Sports Network.